Okay, let's take some time to look at presentation slides that are poorly done, and we'll talk about how to fix them up. So in this first one, I've got some layout issues and I've got some design issues. The most obvious thing is the background is so busy it's drowning out the main focus, which is the picture and the title. So I need to clean up my background, make it simple. My title probably needs to be centered a little bit, and it looks like the picture itself could be, I could make it a little more appealing. And I'm also missing a navigation bar. I'll show you what I mean. So a navigation bar is down here at the bottom, and it tells the audience what the major topic is about. So this presentation would be about Mother Nature. And you can see here that I've already talked about tornadoes, and I'm talking currently about blizzards, and when I'm done talking about blizzards, I'm going to be talking about tsunamis. That's a great navigation bar. It tells the audience what the whole thing is about, where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going. The slide itself is way better. The background is, it doesn't draw attention to itself. The picture has a little bit of flair to it, and the title is centered and laid out kind of nice. A couple problems with this slide. Number one, the picture has nothing to do with the topic, leopard's food. There's not an example of the leopard's food in that picture. Not only that, but the text on the screen it's childish. It's not a really higher thinking kind of title. Leopard's food. Not only that, but it's not comprehensive. Like leopards eat way more than just rabbits and deer. So we need to think about what the kind of text we're putting on these slides, and make it sort of higher learning if we can. And it's also missing a navigation bar. So let's take a look. So we got leopard's prey, and omnivore and scavenger sort of captures more of it. The picture obviously relates to the topic. The navigation bar is probably the most advanced navigation bar that you could do, and some people would say it shouldn't be on the right hand side, taking up the whole sidebar, because it's too distracting. It should be at the bottom, but that's for you to decide. But it does what we need it to do. Main title of the presentation, where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going. So here's an example of some animation. Alright, that animation was way too flashy. It was distracting, okay? Not only that, but the picture's too small, the layout's terrible, and we're missing a navigation bar. So here's a better slide so far. I've got a nice title, it's in a good spot, centered. I've got a nice navigation bar, and here's the animation. That was subtle. It was a subtle appearance. There's other animations that are subtle like that, and you can use them, but just try not to use anything too flashy. The picture has a nice size to it. This slide looks decent. The heading is fine, the picture's fine, and I have some text over on the side. I am missing a navigation bar. But the text on the left-hand side, there's too much of it. Okay, you don't want people to be reading while you're talking. You want the text to fly in as the topic's being brought up. Don't want them thinking ahead or reading ahead. And there's too much reading here. I want to try and organize these points into headings if I can. Something like this is better. So I'm going to mention everything that I mentioned over here. I'm going to mention these things, but I'm going to have them sort of in topics so it's easier to understand. My navigation bar actually looks like it's lacking a couple of points. Unless my entire topic is about only 1 point, I probably need to have a couple more points in my navigation bar at the bottom. Here's an interesting slide. The background, it's a little distracting, but we could let it slide. I've got full sentences on here. Plastic bottles account for 34% of landfill waste. I should never have a full sentence in a PowerPoint presentation. It's PowerPoint for a reason. It's point form. The only time you might have a full sentence is if you were quoting somebody, but I would probably not have the entire quote on there, maybe just a picture of the person that was doing the quotation. So let's take a look. This is cleaned up a bit. Plastic bottles at 34%. It's not a sentence anymore, but we really don't need the picture of the garbage. When we're dealing with things like statistics and graphs and stuff, it's probably better to do something like this. Right? Now people have a real good understanding of what you're trying to say. How much waste is plastic bottles, how much is other waste and yard waste. So it's just a better visual understanding of your topic, and then the navigation bar at the bottom. Okay, so we're almost done here. This slide, the background is too busy. You can't really read the writing, so we're going to clean that. Oh, here's another one. We got way too much writing involved. We need to simplify all this. So I'm just going to focus on these, on the text here. Again, too much reading. The font looks hard to read itself. I want to try and categorize this and put it into some headings if I can. Same with this. So I've chosen this. I've got a nice navigation bar. The writing's easier to understand and it's summarized, and the pictures associated with it. Now, these two topics that we were talking about, you probably didn't have a chance to read it, but they're talking about the same idea. And so what I want to do is put all that on one slide. So I'm talking about this idea on the right, and then I bring in my other piece on the left. Sometimes it pays to bring several ideas onto the same page in a nice little layout there. Well, there you have it. Use those tips when you're designing your slides, and they're going to turn out great.